Hello, happy holidays, and welcome to the Winter Tower. The Prelude, Chapter 0. Usually we start at 1, but we'll start before that. That's why it's preluded. Harina, Ivana would have said I was a rather happy person up until yesterday. Oh, hello, Igor. It is time to stop playing hard to get, Katie. It's quite unattractive. Correction, I would have said I was an overwhelmingly happy person until yesterday. But you're blabbering and get out of my sight. I must finish packing. Oh, my dear Katie. Even when you act coldly, your words are music to my ears. But you know, I can't be safe for a woman to live in the middle of nowhere all alone. Won't you reconsider? But this way I won't have to look at your revolting fate. And what a relief that will be. At least in this castle there are guards and servants. What if someone breaks in and tries to harm you while you're there? I even hear rumors that a monster lives in that area. Igor. Yes. I have no doubt that rapier I receive as a birthday present from my father is more than enough to silence both you and the monster once and for all. Wouldn't you agree? The rapier of yours seems a bit too long to be effective for self-defense, but I will buy you a decorative dagger to hang in your display case instead. This weapon isn't simply for show. I received proper combat training. Eek. Iris screeched and stepped back while I pulled the rapier out of my waistband. Coward. Akina, what are you doing to your brother? Damn. Siren stormed towards me from the end of the hallway. To be clear, Siren wasn't her real name. Rather, it was Melissa. But hear me out. Sirens were known to seduce sailors with their beautiful voices and ultimately cause shipwrecks. It was similar how to Melissa used her beauty to seduce my father and overthrow the castle from within. Put that thing away this instant. Much to my disappointment, I was forced to put away my rapier without even giving it a single thrust. We're only having a friendly chat. I told you to pack your trip in the Winter Tower, and here you are scheming to hurt your brother. Are you trying to disgrace your family? I would have kicked me at the moment I lunged at him. You'll never know how many times I had to swallow the urge. And as far as being disgraced goes, you and your son are the only ones who deserve that title. Mother is correct. Besides, it's tasteful for a girl to carry around a sword. Distasteful is the perfect word to describe your preserved behavior. Imagine how disappointed your father would be if he saw you like this. His wish is for you to get married and live happily ever after. Yeah, right. Who can say? Perhaps father simply wants me to be as virtuous as the rightful heir of the Ivanko family. It's time for you to accept that Igor is the rightful heir to this family. Is that what father told you before he lost consciousness? Tish. Siren's face flushed hot when he attacked the flaw in our statement. Aren't you packing it? Get out of here already, until we meet again. Turn around and force my attention on the bag I packed earlier. So this is basically Snow White. In it were changes of clothes, toiletries, a first aid kit, a pocket knife, and stationery. Other items of note weren't in the bag, including the rapier strapped to my waist and a bit of money in my pocket. Is there anything else I should bring with me, I wonder? Yes, there was. I headed to the garden with my luggage. Romanov was already waiting in the garden to greet me with a smile. Hello. Here are the items you requested, my lady. I examined the pouch Romanov handed me, then placed it in my inner pocket for my coat. Thank you. Please look after my father. You're the only one I can trust with this task. Your wish is my command. Please take care of yourself, my lady. And you as well. As I approached the castle gates, I spotted a shadow, my favorite horse trotting towards me in the distance. Let's go, Shadow. Oh, his name's Shadow? I signaled to my horse that it was time to begin our journey. She stomped her feet with confidence and rapidly galloped towards the road. The accident occurred the morning prior. My father, who quite enjoyed horse riding, had been unconscious ever since he fell off his horse. He was fortunate enough to survive. However, his head hit the ground so hard he still hadn't recovered. My father passed away before long. It was natural that I would succeed his title. There's no question about it, or at least there wouldn't be, if not for his second marriage. Siren and her son Igor shared no blood relation to me or my father. Whether by law or tradition, however, it was the eldest child who stood to inherit the title. Considering Igor's age, it was very possible he could be named the heir. However, I was the rightful heir by blood. To prevent further conflict, my lord father was to formally announce his successor eventually. Although he respected my right of succession, he hadn't finalized his decision as he wished to take my future marriage into consideration. In his will, he described in great detail how the inheritance would be split. However, his decision on who would succeed his title was nowhere to be found. Of course, he was simply trying to be generous by giving me time to think everything through as I turned 18, when I would be eligible to succeed him. However, Siren and her son went berserk when they heard tell of my father's accident. She forced me to make the decision, either agree to the arranged marriage or leave the castle, and I have a coming-of-age ceremony. Either way, I couldn't just stand there and do nothing, so I declared that I would undergo my coming-of-age entry at the Winter Tower. Most coming-of-age ceremonies simply involve moving out after marriage, but family tradition was to spend a year in the Winter Tower. Suppose no parent wanted to send their child to a foreign land for an entire year. The tradition was gradually forgotten by the public. Nowadays, the tradition was conducted only once a year with only one candidate. Sending Igor in my stead wasn't an option, as he undergo a different coming-of-age ceremony already. Though even if he had the opportunity to go, he would surely opt into crying in a corner like a coward instead. Beyond that, I highly doubt that Siren, being an overprotective mother, she would bear to send her beloved son somewhere out of her reach. In any case, it was for all these reasons that I became the caretaker of the Winter Tower, and was forced to lease the castle temporarily. Of course, I didn't go empty-handed. So time for them to realize something is wrong. I proudly gazed at the blue sapphire ring and the signet ring I wore on my finger. The first thing I did when father became bedridden was swap these rings out with fakes and take the real ones. Siren and Igor would soon realize the rings in their possession were copies. Now, Igor had no meaning in claiming that he was the true successor. He might still assume control of the castle, but his influence would be limited. Without the family seal, he wouldn't be able to force me to an arranged marriage either. Although my father would certainly be taken aback if he heard this story, I would just say it wasn't much to ask for my birthday gift. These rings were rightfully mine in the first place, after all. I'm almost there. A week passed since I started on the road for Shadow. A forest of white birch trees stretched along the frontier, granting it the name of the Silver Curtain. Finally, the Winter Tower came into view. The forest keeper I contacted ahead of time was waiting to deliver my mission. This path will lead you to the Winter Tower. Remember, if you cross the border or leave the forest, you'll fail the mission. You see the ropes hanging along the trees? Make sure not to cross them. Do you have everything you need? I'm traveling light. I rode my horse the entire way here. I'll make the most of what I have. I've been the forest keeper for years, and I'll tell you, it's rare to see someone take the traditional coming-of-age ceremony. I wish you the best of luck, young lady. Thank you for your support. Just 1 year. If I managed to protect these rings from thieves that they were sure to come, I would win. But if they got their hands on them, I would lose. Bring it on. Dear word. Make sure you pay the price for the day I turned 18. To be clear, I had never lost a bet in my life. Okay. Cellar. The tower seemed massive, even from afar. That close I saw the passage of time engraved into the bricks, much like that old tree that had endured Mother's Nature for a mile out. I looked around cautiously. The horse reins in my left hand and my rapier on my right, but all I heard was the rustle of leaves from small animals moving about. There's no ambush. Shadow wait in the forest while I take a look inside. Harold played with a neigh and disappeared into a brick forest. So they say monster lives here. Oh well. All living creatures have a heart, nothing to stab for my rapier can't fix. I never skipped a single training session in my life. I was determined to become Lord Ivana. I was even confident that I would win most any battle, but of course that was only if my opponent fought honorably. It was impossible for a single person to fight an army if they weren't a legendary hero. Monster or not, I, Kanara Ivana, shall destroy anything and everything that stands in my way. Drew my rapier from my waist and stormed into the tower. My first obstacle was rather unexpected. It's locked. Here too? Don't look with this one either, nor this one. For some reason, not a single door on any floor would budge, as if they were cemented into their frame. This tower hasn't been maintained for a long time. What's the point of keeping these keys? Keys I brought from the castle were useless. What should I do? Possible to open the doors. I should barricade for the night. Surely to give up, I should search for tools to open the doors. I turned outside. I looked around the tower. I found a small storage shed and stable. Should be an exit here. Fortunately, the storage shed was locked as well. No way to open it through this ordinary mess. All the doors are locked, and the only thing I can access is the stairwell. This is too much. Should I burn this place down? The little devil on my shoulder was so teats nothing, tempting me to set this place ablaze and find lodging in the town nearby instead. What should I do now? At this rate, I'll end up sleeping without a roof on my head. I couldn't think of a clever solution to get myself out of the situation. I let out a steep sigh and spotted a brown cat playing with a ball in the courtyard. I can't. Somehow I recalled the time Ivor gave me a caged bird as a birthday present. He told me that the proper woman should behave like a bird and support her husband quietly from the shadows. It would have been a beautiful story had it just ended up with me kicking the crotch and freeing the bird. The following year, he gave me a kitten. His explanation was although a bird would escape if it was set free, a cat would never run away if it was well fed. The cat was innocent in this, but Cat reminded me of the disgusting iron, so I had to remember to take care of it. Cat was surely happier with Romanov than me, in any case. That brown cat reminds me of Igor too. As it turned out, the round thing was playing with wasn't a ball but a round ton hamster. It bothered me standing by and watching the cat bully that rodent, but the Igor had done to me. I stood up and faced the cat that saved the smaller creature. The exhausted hamster couldn't run. Suddenly remained on the ground, trembling. The cat kept tapping at its prey until I got bored, then raised a sharp claws to strike. Suddenly the hamster sprinted at full speed to escape its doom. As if the first shot had been fired, the cat leapt towards its hunted prey. No matter how fast the hamster was, there was no way to escape the agile feline. It was obvious that it would be caught again, but then, what? The hamster in its desperation ran straight at me. I slowly climbed my leg and took refuge in my pocket. The cat puffed its back and tail out of protest but dared not attack me. You've had your fun spraying. The cat hissed a few times, then left when it lost interest. As I watched the cat leave, I felt the warmth of the shivering hamster in my pocket. I walked into the tower and shut the door behind me. No other animals would prey upon the hamster in here, so I placed it on my palm. He looked at me with nervous eyes. Let's see. Should have some leftover bread. He gave a couple of breadcrumbs to the hamster. Started stuffing its mouth the moment it realized it was safe to eat. You're okay. That's gone now. Aw, look at the little guy. Squeak, squeak. Hamster responded if it understood my words. I carefully put it back on the ground and began thinking to myself, I should bring Shadow inside as well. I couldn't let her stay outside in that shabby stable, but she had never lived in a harsh climate before. She would really freeze to death if I left her alone in the cold. Simon decided. What should I do? Should I give him leave the forest yet? Going back without even trying to face this challenge would be humiliation to last for decades. And just imagining how Igor would mock me was enraging. Judging from the fact that all the doors locked, I doubt interior is well maintained either. There are no ways to find out what happened here, since the castle rarely exchanged correspondence with the Winter Tower keepers. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The hamster, which I assumed had already left, made noises at me from the step away. Bird was trying to mess with you again. When our eyes met, the hamster started to spin in circles on the rug covered in the landing. Was something on the rug? Or beneath it? Alright, come here. I reached out my hands, the hamster climbed up and made itself comfortable in my breast pocket. I rolled the rug up and moved it aside. My soul was hidden underneath the hatch. Thinking about building such this tower generously have basements. How did I not think of that earlier? Might have returned home without any knowledge of existence. I pulled the keys out once again. Not this one or this one either. Bingo. The clear lock. The lock was released. Slowly opened the hatch using both my hands. The entrance to the basement was pitch dark, just like Stillwater. I dived into the darkness with an aid of an oil lamp. It won't be easy to use my rapier in this narrow tunnel. I bought a dagger just with me in case, but I regretted not having studied how to use it properly. I would have trained more if I had known I'd find myself in this kind of situation. The torches hung on the walls brightened as the passage as I lit them. Then a large room at the end of the passage caught my attention. The room seemed to be used as both an emergency shelter and a cellar. It was filled with food and daily necessities. I also found an axe and crowbar inside some crates. The axe had seemed sturdy enough to use as a weapon. We need to break the doors open. Let's back up. Eventually, he had to stop me when I tried to leave the basement. What's wrong? Head popped out of my pocket and directed me towards a couple of grain sacks. Seems to be trying to tell me something. Should take another look around. Placed the axe on the ground and moved the grain sacks aside. I in the wall was revealed when I pushed the sacks and the crates away. It seemed large enough for a person to crawl through. The entire room was suspicious. It's hidden. And there's even another secret passage inside. The crates must have been placed here to hide the carpets. Occasionally a buzzing sound came from the other side of the hole. What now? It didn't take long for me to decide what to do next. It doesn't give up without a fight. For my own sake, I must find out what's in there. It was too narrow for to swing an axe, so I packed it in my bag and crawled through along with my dagger in hand. Chapter 2. Prometheus? Romanov never told me about this. It's an emergency escape route. There was an escapeway in the castle of Vanuatu, but there was nowhere near as crude as this one. The tunnel was too coarse for a human to have built it. It felt more believable to say that nature had carved its path just itself. What does a cold monster look like, I wonder? Does it have the head of a bull and the body of a man like a minotaur? Perhaps a terrifying creature made of all kinds of bestial features. Where would its weak spot be? Its neck, or maybe its eyes? Oh well. No such creature could possibly exist. I must have read too many fairy tales. I should be concerned about assassins coming for my head. As long as these rings were on my hand, Siren and Igor had no reason to harm my father, but it was far from my common for suspicious deaths to occur during battles of succession. Esther's dying after drinking a poisoned glass of wine was merely a tired cliché. Because of that, I educated myself on toxology and trained my immunity against common poison. I had planned to immediately take revenge on Siren and Igor if they made an attempt on my life. For better or worse, Siren has never tried to poison me in spite of her desire to make Igor the family successor. I bet she's only holding back because she can't find suitable scapegoat. Igor stood to gain most from my death. Thus, if I were poisoned, everyone assumed it was his doing. And father wouldn't forgive Igor so easily either. The passage grew wider, and I crept through. The buzzing sound that echoed from within the darkness grew louder. I didn't know what it came from, but it was certain at the end of the passage was close. Please don't be a ghost. The passage was no longer behind me. Now I faced the field that stretched as long as the eye could see. First things in particular that caught my attention was a man? A guy just sitting there in the darkness by himself in a little tunnel? Nope. That was just, this is a man. Man sat on a chair made of carved stone. Who is that? The hamster jumped to my pocket and bolted towards the man.
I warned you not to go outside.
Oh, he talks.
Your family is worried about you. Go home.
The man gently patted the hamster for turning his attention on me. Hello?
Who are you?
Me, I am, He doesn't sound like I should bet. I wasn't good to tell a complete stranger my name. I should dig something up. Started paddling through the area. And
likewise. Cookie would like to thank you for saving his life.
Hamster's name is Cookie?
He is the youngest of 5. He is always eager to explore.
What?
Because he is curious about the world beyond those walls. I'm sure you were the same when you were a child.
It was true. As a child, I had been fearless. I used to climb trees until my dresses were disheveled and played in the rain until I caught a cold. I was subsequently grounded. No matter what I did, my father never punished me harshly, however. Instead, he ordered me to get a disciplined hobby. He simply told Ronrock to accompany me whenever I ventured out. It was exciting to explore every corner of the castle of Thromanov. He certainly is a strange one. Perhaps I should ask him a few questions. Why are you here? Why are
I'm
you
confined here while I serve my time.
Serve your time? Did you commit a crime? You don't look that type
You
of
can't
person.
possibly tell such a thing from one's appearance. For example, your stepmother is beautiful on the outside, isn't she?
You know me? I immediately tensed up, brimming with suspicion. How do you know
The
my
forest
stepmother?
told me about her.
Oh, the forest told you, did it? Can you be more
The horse that
specific?
brought you here talked about you. And the animals of the forest delivered that information to me.
You can understand animals.
You can't?
Appear to be a genuine question. Heard it be including myself.
Everyone
cannot.
was able to at one point. The reason
Crazy
you
if you-
cannot anymore
Oop.
is that you are
Oh,
hiding
no.
your true self.
I just stroke my own ego, but on the contrary, I consider myself a rather honest person. It was also because my personality that sometimes got roped into pointless disputes, though most of the time it was just with Siren and her son. Anyone else would do the same if they were forced to live with people who constantly got on their
Voicing your
nerves.
thoughts and feelings doesn't necessarily translate to being open. After all, you're suspicious of me, aren't you?
Yeah. Aren't you rather suspicious? You may have even heard of me from Shadow, but we've only just met you. Of course I need more
No
time to
matter how
trust you.
much time passes, you'll hold on to your suspicions.
Why would you
The
say
only
that?
person you trust is yourself. Those rings on your fingers are proof of that.
You're speechless of the sharp Christmas of them.
Forgive me if I doubt this honesty of yours.
Believe what you want, but I appreciate if you would change
As
the
you wish.
subject. The argument had continued. I had no doubt it would go in circles for eternity. I should be on my way. I need to get to work now that
Are you
found
going
my
to
axe.
use it to break open the doors inside the tower?
Yes.
Not at
No
all.
problem. Seriously, 30 minutes passed by the time I realized why the mind had asked me that question. Come on. Bang. Swung the axe on the door with all my might, but I couldn't leave a single scratch. How can this be? No matter how blunt the blade was, it was still a weapon. I could have used the door completely unscathed. To test my theory, I returned to the forest and swung the axe to the birch tree. The results were the same. As the blade was about to hit the bark, it was like there was an invisible wall blocking its path. Almost if the
Are you
weapon
going to
held the
use
blade.
it to break open the doors inside the tower?
He already knew these doors wouldn't break, didn't he? He had made a fool of me. At this rate, it would be impossible to complete my coming-of-age ceremony with the Winter Tower. The reason the tower had been neglected was now clear. What was the point of maintaining it if the doors didn't open in the first place? I couldn't believe something so fairy tale-like was taking place before my eyes. There was nothing else I could do but turn to the basement. I had sat in the same spot he'd been in 30 minutes ago. You already knew the axe couldn't break the doors,
Yes.
didn't you? Then why did you just let me go? Do you enjoy watching
I
me
didn't bother
struggle?
telling you because you would have tried it regardless.
It's true that I do, as I like, but I'm not so stubborn to completely discard others.
Even
alike.
if I'd warned you, you would have attempted to knock the doors down regardless. Am I wrong?
I wouldn't have kept at it for half an hour at least. Hands are still for holding axe for so long. Arguing seems a waste of time, so I accept it for them. Fine, I lose. You're right. So is there any way it would open
There
those
is.
unbreakable doors? What is
Me.
it? He assumed I didn't comprehend his reply and added
I'm the only
explanation.
one who can open them, because I was the one who sealed them.
Nearly snapped the moment he revealed he was behind all this trouble. However, I pulled myself together. If he told the truth, I would need his help. All this trouble were a few doors. Well then, if you would come help
No.
me open those doors.
I must touch the doors to open them, but I cannot leave this area.
What? You said you were the one who shot them, but you won't go near them? What kind of nonsense is it? On second thought, the man hadn't moved a single step from that one spot. Perhaps he had difficulty moving around due to injuries similar to my father. Recalling how I was about to force a sick person to move around made my heart uneasy. As I searched for my voice, the man shifted to receive another chair. You look fine to me. Why do you say you can't leave this place? What were you
That
saying
I
to
cannot tell you.
Isn't it a big deal to walk through one little passage, is it? Do you wish to watch me freeze to death in the frosty outdoors? Are you positive?
There's a town near the forest. I believe you'd be far more comfortable there. Is there any particular reason for you to stay in this tower?
Yes, there is actually. I was completing my year-long coming-of-age ceremony here. The man remained silent for a while. Finally opened his mouth.
Must you open them? No matter what?
Yes. He slowly stood from his chair and walked closer to the even slower pace. I noticed it from a distance, but up close he was pale as a ghost. It was as if he had never seen sunlight his entire life. He spoke softly but clearly as though they were setting
If I
a fire.
enter, I won't be able to lift a finger. Despite that, if you truly wish to stay at the Winter Tower, I will help you. In exchange,
He paused before
will you
continuing.
promise to look after me and never betray me?
No, I don't know you.
Then our
No.
negotiations break down here. You may deal with the doors by yourself.
Anyway, Colleen sat back down on his chair, climbed to the basement after a few times of persuasion. Whatever I did, the doors never opened. I ended up camping outside. I made do with whatever food I had in cereal kit and brought from the castle. However, they were not enough to survive the hostile chills of the winter wind. For 3 months of nothing but struggles, I had to give up on completing the ceremony and leave the forest. Too ashamed to return to the castle of failing a challenge. For that reason, I became an aimless wanderer with no destination. If only had those doors had opened. Wow. Well, I'm gonna leave this one here, and we'll go back and I guess promise next time. Okay, so see you in the next one. Bye.